Have you heard of Ishowspeed? I kept getting his videos on my FYP and I decided to check who he is. To be honest, I never knew there was a person called Ishowspeed until recently, and I think it's because of that video made about the Pretendians. So I decided to check who Ishowspeed is, and the guy is big. He has over 47 million subscribers on YouTube. He's said to be the most popular streamer on YouTube for 2025. And probably is a billionaire because YouTube pays very well. If you know how tough YouTube is, to get 47 million subscribers, it's not easy. 1,000 subscribers on YouTube can be compared to over 20,000 followers on TikTok. That's how tough YouTube is. So if he has over 47 million subscribers, then you know that this guy is really big. But I'll get to the Ishowspeed issue later. Please stay with me. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you very much. Please subscribe to my channel. Subscription is free. And also like the video and leave me a comment. Leave as many comments as you can and also share the video. If you're watching on Facebook or TikTok, please do me that favor to click on the like button, follow me, click on the follow button, like the video and leave a comment and also share. Also add to your favorites and stay. Please listen to the end. I don't know if it's Ishowspeed or Ishowspeed, even though the spelling is show, but I kept hearing show. Well, I'll get back to that issue later. Just stay with me. After posting that video about the Pretendians, a lot of videos relating to that issue kept popping up on my FYP, and I came across this lady.
So the third issue with calling ourselves African American is that the very term itself takes credit away from Black Americans and outsources credit to a continent that we didn't come from and that we've never been to. Now, we have so many inventions, so many things that we've created. We've created all the music genres. We've created so much fashion, so much cooking. Like I said, so much modern day technology we use today was created by Black Americans. But yet when we talk about our achievements, we put the word African in front of it. This ain't got shit to do with Africa. They didn't create this shit. They didn't build this shit. So why are we outsourcing? The very word itself is outsourcing and giving credit to a group of people.
It's not like she made mention that she herself has invented anything. No, she has not invented anything. She has not composed any music, that any great song or something that we know of. She has no fashion line that we know of. She hasn't got a name in anything. She has no patent. She has no invention to herself. Just like a lot of the so-called Pretendians are doing, they are just trying to galvanize support from other people by riding on the successes of some other people. I do not have any invention. I have not invented anything. However, I can tell you that there are African inventors. If you have heard of Professor Alote, Professor Francis Alote, type Francis Alote on any search engine, you will see what this man has done. His invention is still being used by NASA, not only NASA, but other scientists who are making explorations into outer space. And if you have heard about Dr. Thomas Mensah, Dr. Thomas Mensah developed fiber optics into what has made the internet what it is now. Because of Dr. Thomas Mensah's work on fiber optics, the internet has improved and we even have social media today. Thomas Mensah is also a Ghanaian. Google hasn't done much justice to African inventors. I don't know why that is the case, but then you can still search. Try to see other search engines, or if you've heard of the inventor's name, just Google it and try to see. Like I just mentioned, Professor Alote and then Dr. Thomas Mensah. You see what they have done. I don't know why they want to ride on the successes of other people. And there's the need for more and more people to talk about this, because there are a lot of gullible and uneducated people around who are just taking everything hook, line, and sinker. Let's try to also study. When I posted the video on YouTube, there was this person who made a comment like Africans should leave Black Americans alone, as if Africans are always talking about Black Americans. That is not the case. There are a lot of people in Africa that do not know anything about Pretendians. Right now, as we speak, Africa's population is over 1.5 billion. And of course, I'm not going to lie about it. There are some parts of Africa have poor or no internet at all. But even though you have the internet, a lot of them have never heard of Pretendians. Maybe you made a video and then you heard about 1,000 or over people making some comments and you feel that Africans are on your neck. No, those people do not even represent 1% of Africa's population. Nobody is begging any Black American to become African, but then we feel that we have to say the truth. In any case, you are being unfair to that particular black man or black woman who survived that horrific transatlantic trade and made it all the way across the Atlantic Ocean, was able to procreate with someone, and then their child grew up to procreate with another person until it got to your father and mother, who came together and procreated you. I am also alive over here because a certain ancestor of mine was not captured. So the procreation went on until my mother and my father also met each other, and I am alive over here. I'm saying this because it's also my story, because I come from a part of Ghana in the north that was ravaged by this slave trade thing. We are also victims, even though our degree of victimness, I don't even know if that's an English word or not. Our victimness is different from your victimness. But then, thanks to the ancestor who made it to the Americas and even the others, are those who went through so much suffering, and it is unfair unto that person who made it, who decided not to unalive himself, that you stand today in America. That is very unfair. And I am talking about it because it's also my story. I made a story some time ago about a distant cousin of mine who came back to the village tracing his roots because his great grandmother was captured and sold into slavery. But then when they got to Cape Coast, the slave trade had ended. And she remained there and gave birth to her children, passed down the story until modern times when it was safe enough for that grandson to trace back to the village, to her roots. That is also our story. So it's not like we are on your necks or something. No, about Ishowspeed. To be honest, I've never heard of Ishowspeed until I posted this Pretendian thing. And the reason why people were talking about Ishowspeed is that Ishowspeed came to Africa. He visited some cities in Angola and in South Africa, and people were shocked. Some of them were these so-called foundational black Americans. They were shocked to see that Africa was as developed as it was, and that the African cities that Ishowspeed was showing were cosmopolitan. And you know, apart from the Wakanda depiction of Africa, which we all know is utopian, and a lot of them have very limited knowledge about Africa. For them, Africa is a backward continent with so much disease and poverty and so many things that they are ashamed of, and they cannot come to that acceptance that they have African heritage. They are just too ashamed to accept it. And of course, much of Africa is still undeveloped, and those of us from West Africa, where most slaves were taken from, are not shying away from that. I don't know the exact reasons why Ishowspeed decided to come to Africa, but I watched his old videos about how he was treated in Europe, people making monkey sounds and laughing at him because he's a black man. These are things that we should come together and work against, and not to be talking of being black American or whatever. In any case at all, you are American. What about that? You are talking of being, we saying you are African American. What about just being an American and not black American? Be black and proud of your African heritage. Then also, there's this video I saw about Ishowspeed speaking to one guy. I don't know if he's a member of his team or he's a friend or something like that, but he was talking to him saying that the black people in America are from Africa, and the man was, you could just see the disdain in his face that Ishowspeed is saying they are from Africa because Africa.
I am African.
No, you're not. You're
It's
an
like,
American.
yo,
You're an American.
but we from Africa.
Who from Africa? I've never been to Africa.
But you're African. Your descendants is African, Dad.
But
You know, so
you
look,
know how far of a descent that is, though. That's
1900s.
we talking.
That's not that far.
We weren't African in the 1900s.
I mean 1800s.
Yeah,
It's still
18
African
that's
descent. It's still African descent.
Right, but look,
Just because you
you
wasn't
know how
born in
far-
Africa, you're still an African descent.
all right. But my mom's father's Jamaican. Nana's dad's Jamaican.
Some people say that they asked their grandparents, their grandparents, and they all said that they never came from Africa. But the thing is that the transatlantic trade was a very horrific and very traumatic thing. And trauma can make people not want to talk about what happened. People went through so much trauma. Imagine moving in the bush for hundreds of miles, several days, until you got to the coast and then transported to Americas. So that is it. Please follow me, subscribe to my channel, like this video.